Hi, how are you?
I am good. I am so happy that we're doing this interview. We've been talking about this interview for a long time and we waited for the perfect timing. And I feel like today, at least around the event that you just had last week, it is the perfect event, right? The perfect timing.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's great. We're going to talk about all this, but before we speak about the event that just happened and before we speak about the wonderful work that you do, I would like to introduce you to our listeners. Not everybody knows who is Joelle Eckstein, at least not until now. So we're going to
Eckstein.
Eckstein, sorry. And so we're going to read your bio to make sure that everyone knows who you
Well,
are, and then
bio, two sentences about me, not really a bio.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And then we'll dive in to know the wonderful work that you're doing right now. So Joelle
Okay.
was born and raised in Barcelona, Spain, and she moved to Israel in 1983 at the age of 15. After completing her studies at Hebrew University and Bar Ilan University, she started her journey in tourism. And Joelle then went on to fulfill her dream and becoming an artist and open her own handmade jewelry business, only to discover her real passion of helping others through the work of her husband, Rabbi Joelle Eckstein. Joel dropped everything to join him in his holy mission until his sudden passing in 2019. Turning her pain into purpose, she started a nonprofit. In her husband's memory, Joelle is a mother of two and is fluent in Spanish, French, Hebrew, and English. So, this is the official way to present you, Joelle. But today we are also talking about not only the nonprofit that you actually established in your husband's memory, but also in the wonderful work that you do for widows and taking, like you say, your pain into purpose and creating that amazing organization that you are now helping other widows to go through this horrible and very difficult time that is to lose a husband. And I want to take you back to the time where you had this idea. Like you're a widow. Unfortunately, you had to go through this yourself. And then how do you go from going through something difficult yourself to saying, you know what, I want to help other people? How did you go from your experience to helping others?
Look, it was a very smooth transition because that's what I was doing already when Yechiel was alive. I already ran one of the projects that was his dream. And I had been doing that for 3 years together with the director of the project. So very, very soon after he died, and I thought to myself, okay, thank God I still have my volunteer work. Actually, his organization decided to close that project
Right.
and fire everyone that worked there. We were 25 people, the director, everybody. So overnight, I really had nothing to do.
Right.
My only solution was, listen, okay, they closed it, they don't want it. Let me try and rebuild it.
Right.
It was something that I didn't put a lot of thought into. Maybe if I had really, really thought about it, I wouldn't have done it. It was like, really scary. What did I know about starting a nonprofit?
Wow.
But when you're forced to do something and just like dive in the water, it's a swim or drown. So we
It's
started
very
learning
smart.
everything. We asked everybody we knew, how do you start a nonprofit? What do you do? And we went through the steps and we learned uh, really on the way, and we strengthened each other. The director of the project and me. I mean, we both opened it together. So it's now 6 years that we've been together, almost 7 years, and we knew how to do it. We knew how to do the job. We didn't know the technicalities of opening a nonprofit, but that's the kind of thing you learn. You
Yeah.
ask, you learn, and you do. And I was really on an automatic pilot, maybe. Like just not really thinking about what I was doing. Luckily, I had my partner who would take me to meetings and say, sign here, let's do this. And sometimes I wouldn't even remember what we did. I had to ask her, were we here before? My brain was just a total fog. I didn't really understand what I was doing. It was just like, let's survive this day. Let's survive the next day. It wasn't thinking long term or anything, but that's the way you survive. You just do,
just do
some
one
days,
step
right,
at a time. Right?
one step at a time. And some days the one step was just getting out of bed and brushing my teeth. That's all I had strength for. It was really a process, and it's very, very slow.
Right.
But
here you are today. So the first step was to really continue the work that you had done, with the nonprofit, and to continue helping poor people here in Jerusalem, people that don't have financial means, and that was continuing.
It was, not necessarily poor or financial. It was a hotline that Yechiel would describe it as a social emergency line.
Okay.
And whatever your emergency is today, how you answer the 911,
Right.
What's your emergency? So that's the way we would answer sometimes, what is your emergency today? And sometimes it can be, I'm getting thrown out of my house and I don't know what
Right.
to do. And we started contacting all the other nonprofits and creating partnerships. So sometimes it was just telling someone, listen, you have to call this number and they will help you. Right. It was like a social waves.
Right.
So not necessarily always a financial issue.
Right. Not necessarily. Right. It's good that you're saying this, because this is the way I understood it, but I'm happy that you're making sure that everyone else understands it the right way. So you're basically creating that hotline, continuing to do what you've been doing before in this new nonprofit, learning on the go, learning as a work in progress, continuing to help people. But then something happens around you creating that organization for widows, or that project for widows, and
right, you already gave it out.
Exactly. So what happens? Like, so you're in the nonprofit, you're already helping, continuing to do what you've been doing for years. But what happened in that switch? Like, what happens when you decide to help other widows?
So basically, the nonprofit was continuing Yechiel's dream. It was, he thought about it. He wanted this. He saw the need for a hotline in Israel. And one day I realized I'm continuing his dream. It also evolved just very, very naturally. I was looking for a support group for myself. And I asked around, and I didn't find one. I guess Yechiel also put that seed in me that where you see a need, you don't wait for somebody else to do it, you just do it. So there was no support group for me around. One was only up to a certain age. I was already too old for that. One was already just for older people, and I was too young for that. So this age gap was missing. But the thing is, I saw one day a post on Facebook of also a comment actually on a post for someone asking also if there was a support group in Jerusalem. So I saw my opportunity, and you know what? I'm going to call her and invite her to my house, and at least we start talking. And then within a few days, there was another woman. So I invited her also. And then there was another one. So I started this small group of 5 women in my house, and we would just talk about our issues. What do you do? What did you do with the closet? Things that widows talk about. And things just snowballed from there. That first group then turned into, I contacted, when you start doing something, things kind of fall into place. You did it yourself now in Denmark, right? You weren't planning on doing something, but it just like falls in front of you, and you realize, okay, this is what you have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got in touch with other people that led groups for widows, and what do you talk about, and how do you do it? And he invited me to sit on a group of his, and so we exchanged ideas. And then so he said, "Listen, I do these groups in Tel Aviv. How about there are women that call me that are in Jerusalem? Can I refer them to you?" I said, "Sure."
Yeah.
That's how another group started.
Right.
Then another community center here in Jerusalem contacted me and said, "You know what? I have all these French women, and I heard you do a group in Hebrew. Could you do it in French?" I said, "Sure." And so another group started in French, and that's how it just got going.
Yeah. And it's so
things,
true. It's exactly like you're describing it. I say when you're aligned with what you're doing and when you are exactly where you're supposed to be, then doors open and things happen and synchronicities and people see you and all of a sudden you meet the right person and you have the right idea at the right time. And it's just another proof that you're aligned with what you're doing. So it's very inspiring.
You have to, sometimes also the door opens and people are afraid to go through it.
Right.
It's not having any fear. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
A door opens, go. And that's one thing that I was very aware of, and I made a decision that any door that opened, I would go. Anybody suggested I meet with this person, and you think at first, well, have nothing in common, there's nothing going to come out of this meeting, go. There's a reason for everything, and things work out. And you put one foot in front of the other, and things happen. When you start doing, it just happens.
And so all of this happens one step after the other, and it takes us to last week, where you had this event on.
So I'll show you. Yeah. So I'll just tell you how that started. There's a big organization in the United States that serves widows, helps widows, and I got in touch with them also. See if I could learn from them what they do, and I connected with them. And already last year they told me, there's an International Widows Day. I can't believe it. I never heard of it. Nobody here has ever heard of it. I thought it was, I don't know, to tell you sincerely, I thought it was a joke. And everybody knows there's a falafel day and a bagel day, but International Widows Day, nobody knew about. Right. So I had this dream that let's do something. Let's mark it. It's never been even mentioned in Israel.
Right.
Nobody even knew about it. So I said, let's prepare some kind of an event so that people, raise awareness at least.
Right.
Do something. And I told my partner 3 months ago, let's do something for this day. And she's like, what? I don't have enough time. Yes, let's do it. Right. And it was amazing. We had women from all over the country. It was still very small, but we had very, very good speakers, a very professional panel. The women that came were amazed. I mean, everything was super. It's not, I didn't plan it myself, so I can say that. But it really came out wonderfully, and hopefully next year, many, many more people will know about it and create more and more awareness. I don't want people to be afraid to talk to us. That's something I experienced, and you see the look on people when they see you coming and they start going, what am I going to say to her? And then they have no words. And, it's okay. We're regular people. We're okay. Talk to us. We need, so I want people to feel more comfortable around it. So the conference is not only for widows, for everyone, just to learn the needs.
So the people that you had at this event, you had people, not only widows. So who else came if it's not only widows?
People that work in the social services that have to deal with widows. They were very interested in, in listening what we have to deal with, and sometimes they're not aware of it. And there were some therapists. There were other women that also lead groups in different cities. So in talking about the same issues and exchanging ideas, we only get stronger and strengthen other women and learn how to give that
Yeah,
knowledge of what do you do, how do you do everything,
yeah,
every little step we have to learn again. It's kind of, one of the women said, it's kind of like a baby, has to learn how to everything, how to smile again, how to talk, how to communicate, how to crawl, how to walk, everything. You just have to, the life as you knew it ended.
right.
You have to learn all over again, everything.
But
So,
that's what I think is really amazing about your organization. It's not only, we didn't even speak about what you do for the widows, right? You do
mhm,
the groups and the supports and all the activities and the social and the gatherings and the networking, which is already amazing. But what you're
mhm,
saying here is that it's even beyond that. It's beyond helping and serving the widows. It's also raising the awareness and explaining to other people, not only staying together, which is already amazing, but
mhm.
also helping other people that want to be in relationship with widows, professionally or personally,
Right,
know how to manage that. So that
right.
is a really really important mission.
And that's why I decided to publish my book also. It started
Right.
just for me in journaling, for me as a therapy for me, just to, get the pain out and putting it on paper. And when I showed it to a friend and she said, everybody should read this. It's you learn so much from it and really understand what a widow goes through. I'm like, I'm not going to expose myself like that into, my deepest. But at the end, I decided to do it, and I think it's going to help a lot of people.
It is. It is
So,
helping a lot of people. I know.
mm,
I really want you to share the link of the book. I know that it's out there and people can get it. The Rabbi's Widow. You have it. You can show it to us. Yeah, perfect. The Rabbi's Widow. Yeah. And I think this is so important to understand not only what we can see on top of the iceberg, kind of looking at people from outside, but also understanding really deep into your intimate and internal and personal thoughts, because we can't even imagine, we can't even understand or
and you
start.
shouldn't. Nobody should ever
Nobody
have to
should.
go through
Nobody
that.
should. But we also want to know, right? We also want to know what even if we don't have to go through it. And
Mhm.
so today, the mission of the organization. Tell us more about what are you doing for the widows. We understand the
Okay.
event. We understand the International Widows Day and how it's going to be bigger next year to raise the
Mhm.
awareness. But what do you do before, in between events? What happens for widows?
So I have my ongoing weekly group where we gather, and that's it's the idea is to build a new community, that a widow will always know that she's not alone. Therefore, I have a weekly group that meets ongoing. It's not like you do, a 3 months therapy course and then, okay, bye, I start a new group. I
Right.
realized that we need something ongoing. It never ends. Always, if it's the first 3 months, if it's, then the first year approaches and the second year anniversary, and what do you do and how do you do and how you deal with the family, everything. We need to talk constantly. So the group is ongoing. All the groups are ongoing. I have my own podcast also, which I invite you to join also and give your perspective.
Yes.
Also to talk about all these issues where anybody can listen and also learn about what we say. I have different kinds of guests every week. So basically, what I'm doing is twofold. Also helping the widows with having a community so that they're never alone. We have planned one activity a week all over the country.
Wow.
So sometimes it's in Haifa, sometimes in Beersheba, sometimes in Tel Aviv, but every week there is something going on. Sometimes it's an excursion, sometimes it's just a gathering, sometimes it's something fun like baking or so it'll answer everybody's needs.
Right.
Some people are interested in just touring and meeting other women, so
Right.
that's for them. So that's my idea. Also, is to have something around the holidays.
Okay.
Widows often they continue doing what they used to, even going, to the husband's family or something. But sometimes it's just too painful and they want to stay alone, and then it's painful in a different way. So I want to start organizing also holidays so they
Wow.
have some place to go. And it's just the beginning. This is my vision is to have a center in every city, a database where if somebody calls us and says, I live in Haifa, where can I go? So we would have a branch with the representative there to follow up and to, so I'm just
Wow.
starting. It's
Wow. Wow. It sounds amazing. And from what I understand, you're also already doing it in many languages, right? You're not only
yeah.
doing it in you're doing it in Hebrew in Israel, but how many other languages are you doing?
So I have the French group. We have a Spanish broadcast every
Wow.
week also with another widow who's from Argentina. So we broadcast an episode every Sunday from Israel.
Wow.
For women, we found that in South America, widows also don't have any support groups. So at least this, we're trying to build we're building, we're not trying, a global community, really.
Right. That
So
is
we have
also
a
the name
Spanish,
of your Facebook group, right? The Global
yes,
Widows Community, which is the goal is to really connect widows from all over the
all
world, so
over.
that
Hmm.
you have those chapters in every city.
Yes.
Wow, this
In the
is
future, I even see international uh, travel also,
right.
hosting a group of widows here in Israel in our homes, and then going to their country and then that exchange. But that'll be maybe for a further step
Yeah,
forward.
but listen, I mean, that's the vision, right? The vision happens, like we said, step by step. And it's so
Hmm.
impressive, so inspiring to hear how, from an organic, natural, what you wanted to, for yourself, and how you are transforming this as a real professional network, professional meaning really done in a very professional way. And people are really getting a lot of support and help and connections. And also the
Yeah.
awareness. Know that you come very often to our global network for Jewish women entrepreneurs, and you always explain and have that sentence or that tip. You call it the tip, and
Uh-huh.
raising the awareness on how to speak to someone. Just like you said before, if you meet someone who just lost her husband, or even lost her husband, a while ago, and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to say? Oh my God, I don't know what to do. And I think we all go into those state of I don't know what to do, and sometimes we
Hmm.
choose not to say anything, which I'm guessing is the worst.
Hmm.
And you always have those tips and those advice on how to talk and how to understand what is going
Yeah.
on in this woman's head or heart, and how can we, even if we don't understand what's going on, at least know how to approach her. So can you share a little bit of those tips and advice
Yeah.
for our
First,
listeners?
first, I have to say that what made me realize that I'm doing the right thing one day when a woman hugged me after one of the support group meetings, and she hugged me and she said, "You saved my life." That was like the ultimate compliment. I said, "Okay, I have to do more. This
Wow.
is this is this is what we have to do." And widows really need our help,
Wow.
everybody's help. We don't see the pain because we try to hide it, to lead a normal life, put that mask on, whatever, and get out of the house. So people really don't see, oh, she's looking great. She even
Yeah.
put makeup on and she's looking great and she's out. Well, you don't know that took 3 hours of preparation and getting me, getting out of the house. So um, I start by saying what not to say, you
Nice.
know, and we have jokes around, humor is a way of dealing with everything, right? So we have our own insider jokes, like what's the
Right.
worst thing they told you, what's the worst.
Okay. Yes.
um, so
Okay.
one of my worst is when even during the week of Shiva, someone came and told me, you're very young. You'll find someone else.
Oh my God.
I'm sure you'll find someone. Like,
Oh
are you
wow.
for real?
Oh my God. And this
So
person was probably very well intentioned, right?
of course, everybody's very
Just
well
not
intentioned.
knowing how to react and how
Right.
to,
Because
wow.
people really want to say something. They want
Yeah,
to comfort you and they feel like I have to say something.
right,
Can't just sit and be quiet.
right.
Well, I have news for you.
Yeah.
Yes, quiet is best.
Quiet is
Just
best. Oh, so what I
yes.
said before, so better not to say anything. That's what you're
Uh,
saying. If you don't know what,
in my case, a real hug, not but
yeah,
holding the woman close to you
right,
is better than anything because no words can comfort. There's
right,
really nothing that can comfort.
right,
So just bringing her a hot cup of tea if it's winter, and
right,
and just feeling that someone cares about you. But anything you say, this he's in a better place, or it's good he didn't suffer and he went, just no.
just stop. Like just stop.
No, no.
Right,
And the only thing that can really, I don't know, again, I'm talking for myself and maybe
right,
other widows will, but from what I see of our groups and how we talk, it's a common thing that
right.
better don't say anything. Um, the one thing was, tell me more about him,
Uh,
you know?
wow.
And as we talk, that makes us feel better because we're talking about him.
Wow. And
Uh,
I'm listening to you speaking, and I'm wondering, are those tips or rules or advice that you're giving, do you think that they apply to specifically, widows, or is it something like in general for anyone who has lost someone? Because I'm thinking like we don't know even when it's someone else, when it's not a husband, right? We don't always
right.
know what to say. And I'm thinking of the things you said, and
Uh-huh.
maybe we also need to learn how to behave in other situations.
Yeah, I
Is
think
it the
that can
same,
apply
or
for
yeah,
for
it
everyone.
applies. Yeah,
Yeah. When you ask someone who's lost a loved one, tell me about him. What was he like?
right.
It's comforting.
Yeah,
And if the person doesn't want, I spoke enough about him today. I don't have the strength. Okay, just be there, just and not say anything. Just being
yeah,
there is
yeah.
is more than enough.
That's a real
Um,
lesson, because we have a feeling that not saying something is awkward, but you're saying sometimes saying something is even more
right,
awkward
right.
than not
You,
saying
when
it.
Right. You sit in front of someone and just hold her hand tight like that, and without that silence says more than words
Right, right. It's really
when
the
when it's
emotion.
when it's
It's
real.
connecting with the emotion.
Mhm.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is really so inspiring, and it's amazing to see what you've done. Like when you say turning pain into purpose, it's you want to say
But
something?
you know what? Everything is a choice
Yeah,
because I could have fallen or I could have learned to walk again.
right.
But at the end of the day, you decide what you want to be.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's true about everything.
Mhm.
You decide. Everything is possible. Takes hard work. I'm not going to say, I didn't become happy and doing things overnight. It's been over 3 years, 3 years and 4 or 5 months. So it takes a lot of time and it takes determination and saying, I am going to be okay and I am going to be strong.
Yeah.
Um, and it's saying that to yourself every day. And at first, there were days where I couldn't, but you keep trying and again, and you fall, and then you get back up again, and you fall again, and you get up again. And you decide, I want to lead a happy life. It's a choice. It's actually a choice.
It is, and I think that from seeing you being so fulfilled and happy about this organization and giving. Would you say that this is also something for other people that are going through difficult times, that looking for their purpose, looking for something to do to help others? Would you say that this is something that helped you?
It's it's not just opening an organization and saying I help people. It's a known fact, in Judaism also, that by giving you receive much more. And it's not just a saying, it's real.
Yeah.
When you're feeling pain, if you help someone else, there's always someone that's in more pain than you.
Right.
If you help someone else, you are going to feel better. It's it works. It works. And put a smile on your face. And one of the speakers at the conference on Thursday spoke about the power of laugh.
Okay.
And smiling, and said how it can really, when even a forced smile or a forced laugh tells the brain to release endorphins and make you feel better.
Right.
So
fake it until you make it.
but really, you can just it's like a fake smile. It does the same effect. The brain thinks you smile and it releases that good energy.
So yeah, it's a decision, just like you said, it's a decision, but it's still, I'm going to say, it's still inspiring to see someone making that decision and going through with it, right? Because a lot of people have a lot of ideas. Okay, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that. And when we listen to your story and to your journey, whether it's with a nonprofit to help the hotline or with the widows, we see how it's not only ideas, it's not only a vision. There is something concrete, something where you roll up your sleeves, you get to work, you do the things that you're saying that you are doing, and everything you spoke about, the vision of the chapters in the different countries. I'm sure that everyone listening can already see that happening. It's like we know it's going to happen. There's no doubt that this vision, your vision, is going to be fulfilled. So
I want to add one more thing.
Sure.
That learning, not think you can't do it alone. We don't decide we want to be happy, and where do you start from?
Right.
I took a lot of courses, actually. It's positive psychology courses. Learn how to be happy, what to do. The teacher would give us exercises every week, homework, to do, and giving to others and surprising others and doing for others, thinking about others first.
Right.
And it's a practice. It's practice and learning. Right. And
it's not something you can just improvise. You're saying there are places that you can learn, and there are people. It's something that you have to learn. It's not something you can do by yourself. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, some people are naturally positive, and I was not. I saw everything black and saw everything, was criticizing everything. I had to learn how to.
And you did. You did go to those places to learn that and to integrate it and to become that. So it's not just about.
You can do it. You can do it. Anybody can do it. It's just a question of making that decision and choosing.
Definitely. Wow, thank you so much, Joelle. That was so inspiring on a personal level, on a professional, on your organization, on your journey, on the book that you wrote, on all the women that you're helping. I really want to thank you for joining us in the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'll be happy to be a guest in your podcast, and I'll be very happy about that. And I'm sure that we'll interview you again, because we're going to hear about all the vision that is going to realize, and we'll have even more reason to interview you. So thank you so much, Joelle.
Thank you. Mark your calendar for next year, June 23rd, International Widows Day.
Mark your calendars. Amazing. Thank you so much, and we'll see you, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome for another episode of the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Podcast. Bye, everyone.